A big shout out to WB Games for sponsoring this video. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is available now on PlayStation 5 and other major platforms, so check it out and snag your copy today. So you beat Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Now what? It's a question we see a lot of people asking, and as a live service game, the action doesn't stop when the final boss is defeated. In fact, things are just getting started. My name is Kodiak, this is Legacy Gaming, and today we're breaking down Suicide Squad's Endgame and helping you prioritize your time so you get the best bang for your buck. The very first hurdle we need to overcome is identifying when the endgame actually starts. The first 5 chapters of the game are all spent within the story taking down the Justice League. Only after you complete Chapter 6 and kill Brainiac will the endgame actually begin. The moments directly after the credits roll is overwhelming, and this is where we think a lot of players are going to get lost because you're flooded with all of the new features and systems the game unlocks post-story. However, it's crystal clear to us where to start first: support squad missions. If you blew through the campaign without doing much side content, you'll likely have missed these important missions. Each of the supporting characters you meet along the way will have a small string of quests to complete, and doing so will unlock critical gameplay enhancements. Penguin unlocks new gear patterns to craft of various rarities. Hack gives you more contract slots, which means more opportunities for XP and resources. Gizmo unlocks more perks for vehicles and missions. Flag unlocks more legendary weapon patterns for crafting. IV grants you access to new afflictions to apply to your build to finally tune them for more difficult content ahead. Lex grants you more weapon tuning options. And most importantly, Toyman grants you access to the ability to augment and fine-tune your gear. Specifically, Eluding is what you want to have unlocked as soon as possible, because this removes the restriction of modifying only one perk on a piece of gear and essentially lets you re-roll each perk infinitely, making obtaining the perfect gear along your endgame progression that much easier. Now, technically, you can complete these unlocks pre-endgame, but it's easily the most important step as it provides a solid foundation for what's to come next, and it's easy to miss. Alright, now that we're in it, let's talk about Metropolis invasion levels. These are simply new base game difficulty levels, and up until this point, you've only been able to access 3: Walk in the Park, Best Pay Attention, and Sweating Bullets. Everything beyond the lowest difficulty has increasing XP and resource modifiers. Invasion levels are no different. Invasion levels past this point are key to getting the most out of your XP and resource gains, but the caveat here is that you can't progress into the next invasion level without gaining a ton of XP at the highest difficulty level available for you. For example, if you're trying to unlock invasion level +1, you'll need to be playing at Sweating Bullets to receive any progress towards level 1. Once the XP bar fills up, you'll have access to the next difficulty level. While we're on the topic of Metropolis specifically, we wanted to call out a small system the team included to bring in more resources. You'll notice that on your map you'll see a new checklist titled Raising Hell. Simply put, upon completing a list of these, Brainiac will send a hit squad to take you out. But if you take them out, you'll get a really nice cache of loot, and Raising Hell will advance to the next tier, with a slightly more difficult list of things to complete, but a better reward. Upon leaving the game, this will reset to Tier 1, so it's only relevant while actively playing a single session. As you progress these, you'll be working towards gaining eligibility to receive Notorious loot, Legendary loot, Master loot, and Legendary recipes. I will just say that this isn't tied to any specific endgame progression. It's simply another way for you to farm extra resources as you're doing other things. Next to discuss are Incursion missions. These are brand new missions that have you traverse the Elseworlds to complete specific objectives, and these will be your main focus as soon as you dive into the endgame content. These are denoted by the same yellow X marker from the main story, but will also have a glowing purple effect around them. Engaging with Incursion missions will require a brand new resource called Promethium that you'll be introduced to right at the end of the campaign. It's important to note here that throughout the entire endgame, you can gain more Promethium by engaging in patrol missions. Examples include Smash and Grab and Hack vs. Brainiac. As these exist perpetually, you can keep doing these missions to build up the stockpile of Promethium, which is critical for running higher tier endgame content. The Incursion missions are essentially the same missions that you've been experiencing throughout progression, so as a quick reminder, Invasion Species will task you to defend Ivy's plants and spread afflictions, Worlds Unfair will require you to destroy linked crystals to make incubators vulnerable, and finally, Sending a Signal tasks you to kill enemies, gain charges, and retreat to a safe zone in multiple waves. Just like the Metropolis invasion levels, Incursions have their own progression system called Mastery levels, which, as you guessed it, require you to complete these missions at the highest possible difficulty to unlock the next Mastery level. So just to make it crystal clear, invasion levels are only tied to the difficulty of the open world itself, and Mastery levels are tied to endgame content such as Incursion missions, Killing Time, and Kill Brainiac. Incursions and those Mastery levels we just talked about tie right into another system called Finite Crisis rank. As you progress this rank, new pools of loot will become available to you. The way the game calculates your Finite Crisis rank is by adding up your highest Mastery level completions for each of the 3 Incursion missions. Say you've completed each mission at Mastery level 1, your Finite Crisis rank would roughly be 3. If instead you completed each mission with a Mastery level of 10, you'd have a Finite Crisis rank around 30. The game will look at other factors to add to this overall ranking, but by and large, it's looking at your Mastery levels. If you take a look at the in-game loot graphic for Finite Crisis rewards, you'll notice there are 4 categories of loot. Notorious items can drop at any time, with more opening up as you push your Finite Crisis rank higher. These have very specific perks that aren't tied to any sort of set bonus. Think of them as unique weapons with their own themed effects. The other 3 categories, while all named Bane something or other, are all their own unique gear sets with set bonuses for having either 1, 2, or 3 pieces equipped at a time. These are Bane's Rage, unlocked at Finite Crisis rank 1, Bane's Wrath, unlocked at Finite Crisis rank 30, and Bane's Fury, unlocked at Finite Crisis rank 60. These 3 sets each have their own set bonuses, but it's important to understand that the 3 sets do not synergize or otherwise buff each other. Each is specifically its own set. Additionally, outside of the 3 specific Bane sets, there are also unique Infamous sets for other characters, including a Force of Bionics from Hack, Squad Time Activate from Toyman, and Bob's Your Uncle from Penguin, Environmental Adaptation from Ivy, Spare Parts and Elbow Grease from Gizmo, and the Cost of Business from Lex Luthor. So all of the various Bane tiers and Infamous support squad pieces have their own unique set bonuses that become central pillars of different builds. But that might provoke a question. Why do these sets matter? If I'm increasing my Finite Crisis rank, don't those old sets just become obsolete? The answer is no. Suicide Squad doesn't adopt the traditional gear progression model of X item at rank 1 gets edged out by another 100 damage at rank 30. In this game, as your rank increases, the potential pool of new gear you can earn is expanded. That means instead of power being based on raw damage or item levels, it's more important to mix and match your gear, making your characters more potent or adaptable as you confront more challenging mission modifiers. Then, once you know how the gear interplays, it's about perfecting stat rolls and bonuses on those items to maximize their potential. What if I told you when specific Notorious items were equipped with specific Infamous sets, they'd unlock entirely new, completely hidden effects called Villain Synergies? One of the strongest and most clear examples we can give you is if you equip something from any of the Bane sets, and then something from the notorious villain Two-Face. Suddenly, you gain access to the bonus effect called the True Face of Fury, which makes it so when you harvest enemies, you gain a 100% chance of dropping grenade ammo and boosting grenade damage by 100% for 20 seconds. If that sounds insanely powerful, it absolutely is. Villain Synergies can add some incredibly potent effects to your kit, and the more and more of these Notorious and Infamous sets get added, the more expansive this pool of perks become, which is pretty neat. Once you hit Finite Crisis rank 10, your incursion will vanish and you'll need to complete a new activity to regain access to those missions with new mastery levels. Killing Time will require you to once again spend Promethium to access, and once inside, you'll need to survive for as long as possible, with each kill adding a certain amount of time to a clock that is constantly ticking down. The more you kill, the harder things become as the mastery level increases. The further you get in this, the better the loot you'll be rewarded with at the end. But you'll only receive that loot if you manage to successfully leave via the portal that spawns in these else worlds. If you die, all that time will be wasted and you'll walk away with nothing, so it's important to realize when it's time to bail. Once you get your Finite Crisis rank to 20, hardcore killing time will unlock, and here you'll need to do the same thing as before, but if you or any squad member dies even once, that's it, the run is over. A final note, once you hit Finite Crisis rank 30+, the Kill Brainiac mission will unlock, but at a much higher difficulty. This is a much more challenging version of the fight that you originally experienced, and is more about surviving until he becomes permanently vulnerable during that fight. Successfully completing this will grant you a ton of loot and is part of the overall endgame farming loop. So let's run through the loop. Beat the story to start opening up higher invasion levels, complete all your support squad missions, start knocking out all 3 incursion missions at the highest mastery levels you can, raise your Finite Crisis rank to 10 to unlock and complete killing time, complete the next level of incursion missions to reach Finite Crisis rank 20 to unlock and complete hardcore killing time, knock out more incursion missions until Crisis rank 30 to unlock and complete the last piece of new content, Kill Brainiac. Rinse and repeat to keep pushing your Crisis rank higher and higher to rank 60 to unlock the final Bane Tier 3 loot pool, and from there, keep pushing. Throughout this whole loop, modify and tweak your loadouts to your heart's content. Whatever enables you to cause the most destruction possible is what you'll want to go with. You certainly can't say Suicide Squad doesn't present players with a lot of post-game content. And with the game just launching, I have no doubt much more is coming in the near future. We already know that playable characters like the Joker are coming in the first content expansion, with other iconic villains following close behind. My guess is new and refreshed systems and gameplay experiences will also roll out post-launch, so in true looter-shooter fashion, there's always going to be something to do. Thanks again to WB Games for sponsoring this video. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching and play on.